Disney has three films which are connected to each other, that being Frozen, Tangled, and Frozen 2, as well as a couple of shorts. In these films, there are two kingdoms, Arendelle in the far north and Corona in the south, from Frozen and Tangled respectively. I'll be examining these kingdoms and taking a look at their governments, trade exports, and military strength in a civilization analysis. Arendelle is a fringe city-state sitting at the mouth of a fjord far in the north of the world. It is an absolute monarchy, currently ruled by Queen Anna after the former queen Elsa abdicated. The population of Arendelle is around a few hundred people. The symbol is a crocus flower, and their colors are green and purple. A defensive wall has been constructed around the city. Its western wall extends northward along the mountain from the castle walls, while in the east another wall has been built up to the sea. There is a city plaza where people gather for celebrations and festivals. Most of Arendelle's population consists of skilled artisans, most likely facilitating the ice workers who mine the ice, the presumed main export. The Arendellians are a proud people, both in their country and traditions, who love their monarchs, as Elsa and Anna would often take time to go out amongst the people, and have an active role in the city's health and development. Arendelle Castle sits as the seat of power within Arendelle. It was built on an island with a bridge connecting it to the mainland. The castle sits to defend the sheltered bay along with a sea wall extending a short way south. In this position, the castle is highly defensible against an attack by land, as there can only be one point of attack across the narrow bridge. Though small, Arendelle's strategic position would make it a nightmare to invade, as the city is surrounded by high mountains. These natural barriers would make it difficult for an invading army to find places to siege effectively from. However, the castle would serve better as a sea fort, as if a navy came up the fjord, the interior castle structure where the government operates could be easily bombarded as it sits fairly low. In this factor, they would do well to build a secondary fortification further inland in the case of a naval invasion. Arendelle's military is not an impressive force. The soldiers wield spears and swords as their primary weapons. They wear no visible armor and appear more in line with gunpowder age uniforms with their long coats and shakos. Think the French or Prussians. During their only fight against Elsa's snow creation Marshmallow, the soldiers, led by Hans, 13th Prince of the Southern Isles, opened the fight by throwing their spears at the beast, which proves ineffective and only serves to enrage him. One quality of the Arendelle soldiery is their discipline and bravery. Though engaged by a monster they have no understanding of, they fight on and do not flee back down the mountain. Ultimately, it is Prince Hans who takes the initiative and severs Marshmallow's leg and sends him off a cliff. The reason the soldiers of the current day are not incredibly skilled or well equipped is due to the expedition of King Runard into Northuldra some 30 years ago. King Runard was fearful of Northuldra's magical power and sought to eliminate them, echoing the fears Elsa would induce in others decades later. A fierce battle broke out between the tribe and Arendellian soldiers, after Runard himself attempted to assassinate the Northuldran leader. Both leaders would die in the fighting. Due to this battle, the elemental spirits grew restless and cut the forest off with an impenetrable fog. Many of Arendelle's best and brightest soldiers were left behind and could not return home, trapped in hostile territory, including Lieutenant Matthias. After this, Prince Agnar would ascend the throne, but being only a boy, probably was not quick to shore up the defenses and increase the numbers of the soldiery. Upon Matthias's return to Arendelle, he was promoted to general. Despite his age, he, perhaps, would be a good, strong, and skilled advisor for Queen Anna. Arendelle is a backwater kingdom at best. Its location away from major trade lanes and its weak exports, as well as the cold, make it a fairly poor city-state to live, visit, or attempt to invade, which is probably why they do not put much effort into their military and rely on natural borders and the strength of their walls for defense. Why so many diplomats showed up to Arendelle for Elsa's coronation is a mystery. I suppose it is always good to keep tabs on your neighbors, especially when they closed their borders for 15 years and the new ruler of said city-state turns out to be a powerful ice sorceress. A quick aside, this part of the video will only be based on Tangled the movie and Tangled Ever After. I know they made a TV show that occurs in between those 2 points in the timeline, but I am not about to watch 65 episodes of a children's TV show for this video. I can hardly finish Invincible after 3 weeks, and that was 4 episodes. Alright, back to the analysis. From a political backwater to a city-state at the top of the political world, we come to Corona. Corona is also an absolute monarchy ruled by King Frederick, Rapunzel's father. The city-state is a maritime trading empire, presumably located somewhere south of Arendelle, considering its much sunnier environment and temperate forests. The city itself is located on an island off the shore of the mainland, with only one bridge connecting it, just like Arendelle. Surprisingly, despite a history of war, Corona has no walls, and instead relies on its natural barriers as a defense. The city was founded first, and then the castle was eventually built as it grew richer and prosperous. Every year for the last 18, Corona holds their Festival of the Lanterns to honor the lost Princess Rapunzel's birthday, showing their love and respect for the royal family and continued hope that one day she would be found. Due to the prosperity of Corona, it is able to support a population numbering somewhere in the thousands. The symbol of the city is a blazing sun, and their colors are yellow and purple. The opulent and massive Corona Castle sits at the center of the island, on the highest point. Its tall towers scrape at the sky and look down upon the city. It serves as the place of government for the maritime power and home of the royal family. In its strategic position, it is a difficult target for bombardment from both sea and land, and difficult to invade, as the assailants would have to push uphill all the way to the castle. The slope of the hill and many clustered buildings would make most siege equipment ineffective. However, the city proper would be in much more danger from attack. Amphibious assaults are difficult, but because Corona lacks a wall surrounding the island, invaders could land anywhere and put the city to the torch without directly engaging the castle. Though, there would be fierce urban fighting from Corona's vast defensive army. Logistics and supply lines would also be a major problem. If cut off by a land army on the mainland, Corona could still get supplies from the sea. However, if it was blockaded by an enemy fleet, the city would have no way of resupplying themselves during a prolonged siege. Corona's military is better equipped, well-funded, and a far more numerous army. They are able to arm their soldiers with a variety of weapons, such as halberds, swords, sabers, and crossbows. They are also able to outfit them in steel armor with at least a breastplate and helmet. The reason for this amount of guards is to defend Corona's interests from the increased bandit activity in the area of their trade routes. Unfortunately, the army is fairly incompetent as a fighting force, considering Flynn Rider was able to defeat a squad of 4 sword-wielding soldiers, while he only had a frying pan. It is telling when Corona's best soldier and fighter who put up a battle against Flynn was a short sword-wielding horse. In the prison breakout scene, the prison is absolutely crawling with soldiers, leading me to believe this is not just a prison, but a full military compound, which lends further to their military incompetence by allowing a team of bandits to successfully infiltrate the prison and free Flynn Rider, despite having a heavy numerical advantage. Corona is a political powerhouse in the region and regional politics, almost akin to a place such as Venice in our real world. Its dominance in trade has garnered prosperity for its people, who enjoy relatively safe and peaceful lives. Even if the general soldiers are grossly incompetent, Corona is rich enough to field a vast number of them and arm them with the best equipment to hold brigands at bay. The future of Corona is in good hands as Princess Rapunzel, now married to Flynn Rider, has become a diplomat and ambassador for her city-state, as she attended the coronation of Queen Elsa, thus linking the 2 continuities together. This was an interesting project for me, nearly 5 years in the making. It was fun revisiting this video idea, and finally getting it made after so long. It is hard to believe Frozen 2 came out in 2019, which feels like a century ago at this point. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my political and military analysis on Arendelle and Corona.